Hello, everybody. It's Davey, the computer guy, here today, and I am joined by Jacob Colby.
Hey guys!
Today we are going to be doing our first tech podcast thing. This will be different.
Should we introduce ourselves or anything? I don't know. I have no idea. I've never done a podcast. Okay, well, why don't you go first then?
Okay. I'm Davey. I run Davey the computer guy and Davey the game guy, and I was a part of Random Thing Show. There we go.
Alright, I'm Jacob Colby. I was also part of Random Thing Show. I now run a vlogging channel called Jacob Colby and a gaming channel called Jacob Colby Gaming. Yes, very original name right there. Mm-hmm.
Yes, all these links will be in the description box, so you can check everything out down there.
Yeah, because we're going to have a lot of websites linked, so...
Yeah, that too. They'll all be down here. So yeah. Today we are going to be discussing a couple different things. I just want to start off with our list a couple things we want to discuss. We want to start with the Windows 10 April 2018 update and the Spring Creators update, because they are actually two bigger updates that are coming for Windows 10. We want to discuss Atari's new Atari box, Atari VCS thing that they're planning to release as a new modern console. And we want to discuss the iMac Pro, which Apple just released here a couple months ago, and do a bit of a comparison on it between the Mac Pro and the iMac Pro. So there we go. And
awesome possum.
Yes. I think we're going to start with the Windows 10 Creators Update, and just to give a little bit of background, Windows 10 has been doing these creator updates since the fall of 2016. Basically, this is their idea for never needing to have a new version of Windows. Like, they're saying this is the last version of Windows. There will be no Windows 11 or whatever. Which I'm not sure I completely believe yet, but more on that in a later date.
I agree with that. Also, there's this grunt flying across my screen because I have Halo 5 open and grunts flying across the screen. That's irrelevant. Quick note, something to point out, guys. We are going across Skype, and as I live in the United States and Davey is currently living in Germany, there might be some lag. So if we cut each other off, it's not because we're rude. It's because of lag.
Although, hopefully I can fix most of that in editing, so...
Hopefully. I honestly think it's going to be funny with Windows, though, where they say that they're not going to do another big update. I don't know about that. I mean, they're not going to, like, change versions. I honestly think they probably will at some point. I think they will. I think they're just running out of ideas.
That, and if you guys don't know the way an operating system is built, basically, there's this thing called the kernel. Let's just, to put it in layman's terms, think of it as, like, the foundation of a house, right? And over time, like, things can get into that foundation, right? Like bugs or animals or stuff, and then you need to fix that. So when they release a new version of Windows, they're fixing those issues. But you can't do that without completely reworking an operating system. Therefore, I don't think they can just do updates, because to fix a kernel, you would have to physically reinstall a new operating system.
The only way you'd be able to get around that would be as if you said, update, like, they literally said, this is Windows, it's still Windows 10, it looks like Windows 10, it acts like Windows 10, but it's a completely different version of Windows. So, I can't think of an example, but it's a completely different software, but it looks the same, and they act very similar, so it looks like it's the same thing, and everybody gets it for free, but it's actually a complete overhaul, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That's definitely a point. That could be a thing, and maybe, yeah, like you said, it could be when they say there's not going to be another version of Windows, basically, they're not going to change the look of it, because, like, every version of Windows, there's a different look to it. So yeah.
Because, like, Windows 98, Windows XP, they look pretty similar, and predecessors, I believe. I'm not good at that stuff that low in timing, because, I was not even around during then. But Windows X Vista and Windows 7 look similar, and then Windows 8 and Windows 10 look similar, so they do have a habit of changing things often.
It has to do with their user interface. Like, Windows Vista and 7 ran off of the Aero user interface, whereas Windows 8 and 10 run off the Metro user interface.
Okay, that's good to
So
know.
that's
I
how that
actually had
works.
no idea.
And Windows XP is a little bit of an oddball because I forget the name of the user interface they use there, but that was the only operating system they ever used that user interface on. So it's a little bit of an oddball.
Huh. Okay. So what exactly are they introducing with all these updates and stuff? I never really check up on Windows updates, so I noticed I think one that was like that might have been 16. I remember they had this big game update where they added game mode and they added a lot of other crazy stuff, but other than that, I don't know anything else about the creator updates.
Yeah, they basically do things. They change a lot of this one especially is doing a lot of like aesthetic stuff. Like they do updates all the time, like for security updates and that kind of stuff. But with these big updates, basically they're changing something noticeable. You're gonna notice that there's a change.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like for this one here, let's just pull up the page, which you can see now. Well, let's just talk a little bit about this April 2018 update that they released today, actually. Basically, this was just a little pre-update, mostly for security things, and hang on, I probably should have read this beforehand, but
That's fine. I wasn't very prepared for this either.
I don't need to know how to install it.
I just want to know what's in it.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to make my food. I just want to know what's in it.
Exactly. Give me one moment here. Let's see if we can find. Here we go. This is better.
Yeah. We're all tech nerds here, by the way, guys, so we're going to probably nerd out at a few points. You're going to be, like, a little lost. Or you're going to think we're weird and, like, wow, I didn't get lost to that at all, and then I should probably not say that. So we're just weird.
Okay, so basically the big thing with the April 2018 update, as you can see here, is their new thing they're calling Timeline. So basically, if you're using Windows 10 now or whatever, you notice by your search bar at the bottom, there is, well, here I can show you. There is this button here, right? This little task view button. And when you click on that, all your little tabs come up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can make new desktops and stuff. Well, basically they're getting rid of the new desktop thing because not many people use it, and they're reorganizing the way they display your tabs. So like, your big web pages are going to be displayed at the top, right? And you have some big thumbnail type things for your pages, whereas the middle will be like your stuff that updates all the time, like mail or whatever that's open, and the bottom is supposed to be dedicated to just the Windows apps, like the ones you buy off the Microsoft Store or whatever.
Okay.
Those apps will be displayed at the bottom. That's the way they're doing that.
I honestly don't think it's a bad idea to remove the new desktops, because while the idea was really good to have like multiple desktops, like the idea was cool, I admit I never used it, and I think it comes down to the fact that it's not really like I sit there and think, what would be nice was if I could organize it. So this desktop I have for my editing, and then this is my daily stuff. Like I want to keep tabs open or anything. It's like, if like my computer could stay on indefinitely, it'd be a great idea, because then it's like, I can organize things better and I won't be all cluttered and like, but I shut my computer off every night, so it's not like I feel like I have to organize that or anything. It's like,
yeah,
pretty standard.
I mean,
so.
I guess if you're working in an office or something and you leave your computer on all the time, it might be useful, but not many people use it.
True. That actually is a good point you could use, was if you and maybe make it available in the professional version then, or like the ones they would use at like a lot of businesses, because then if multiple people use the same computer, then you can make it that it's just a new desktop for each user. That would be useful.
That it would. So yeah. Also, it appears that this timeline is also going to be able to access history from certain programs. Like, say your computer had a failure, like a power failure, and you lost everything. You'll be able to go through the history and see exactly what you had open and be able to reopen it right away.
Oh, that's nice. It'd actually be cool if it automatically saved whatever the program was doing, but probably not.
Depends on the program. I mean,
True.
Microsoft Office does that. So
yeah, some of them it's nice.
It does say here that they are leaving Chrome and other third-party apps out of the timeline for right now. So
makes sense.
Yeah. If you're not using Edge, then your stuff's gone.
Oh my goodness, yeah. I don't know. Something about Edge. It's like they go around claiming it's like, how much faster than Chrome, but I've always felt it's actually a bit slower. It just doesn't feel as good.
Yeah,
I actually think that's something I would say that, like, a bunch of these, like, web browsers, it's like none of them can quite replicate Chrome. Chrome is smooth. It runs smooth. I'm sure that comes down to a lot of websites being used are, well, owned by Google. Same as, obviously the Google Chrome browser.
Yeah.
But when you go look at things like Mozilla Firefox and Microsoft Edge, which I actually have both on my computer because I like jumping around between them because I have multiple accounts, it just makes my job easier. But I can tell you, none of them are quite as good as Chrome. So,
yeah, and
Microsoft
I
Edge,
might do a video on. I might do a video on that at some point. Basically, what makes up those web browsers and the differences. That might be a cool video to do at some point.
That would explain bonuses of any of them, because some of them I'm sure have bonuses. I've just never been able to find any of them.
They all have bonuses, yes.
I mean, Microsoft Edge has the bonus of Bing.
Yeah, let's not talk about that right now.
Let's not talk about Bing.
Okay, they're also adding nearby sharing in their new update. Basically, this means if you're an Apple user, you might think of AirDrop, which is basically instead of running a network cable in between two computers to transfer files or using a thumb drive, over wireless network, you should be able to move from a file from one computer to another seamlessly.
So, like, it detects other computers on the network?
Pretty much.
Oh, that'll be nice, because, I have my laptop, and at some point I plan on getting myself a nicer PC, or like one we're planning on building, Davey. It's one of those things where it's like, that would be very convenient. What would be really cool, I mean, as some other people might not find this useful, but as an Xbox user, was if it could do the same thing, so I could, because sometimes I'll have, like, things I want to use as my Xbox background or something, where it'd be kind of convenient if I could just move it over there, so that'd be cool.
Maybe,
a bit weird,
maybe that might be something later, but you could do that somewhat before, like nearby sharing with Wi-Fi, but basically that was very difficult and involved a lot of going into settings and changing a bunch of things that most people don't know how to do.
Yeah.
Basically now they're going to add it to your notifications bar, where all those little icons are, which you can see right here on the screen. And basically if you have your laptop running Windows 10, say, and you turn that nearby sharing on, and you come to your desktop that's running Windows 10, and you turn that nearby sharing on, all of a sudden they can both move files just like that.
Oh, that'll be nice. I'm wondering, do they have like a specific menu where you go in to move files, or like how do you actually move things? How does it,
I have no idea.
I'll have to see. All right. Honestly, I'll give them that. I think is I never really liked Windows 8's sidebar, and that's something I can definitely say I like. They brought the start menu back, just because I could never stand, like, when you'd go up to try and close a tab of some kind, or just, like, close a program, and the sidebar would pop up, and then you have to mess around with it trying to get it to work the way you want it to. So, man, which the notification tab, that runs fine now, because it's a button down at the bottom, so that's really convenient. A little off topic, but reminded me of it. How much better Windows 10 is than 8.
That actually might be something to discuss because, well, actually, let's go into that a little bit. Little bit I wanted to discuss about that, actually, is how Windows 8 is technically still supported, but at the same time, Microsoft has pretty much abandoned it. There is not really anything big coming into it anymore, even though it is supported up until, like, 2024 or 2025 or something like that. So I did find that a little weird that they're not doing anything to it anymore.
It makes some sense. I guess the idea they have behind it is we're supporting it because people spent money on it, but we're not really gonna like put out any new big things for it. I mean, they dropped it pretty fast. They were like, nope, that is done. That never happened. It was a bit like Vista.
Yeah, kind of. But see, the thing is with that, there's some uses for Windows 8 still. Like, if you have an early generation Microsoft Surface Pro, which was their tablet thing that they came out with, those only run Windows 8. You cannot update that to Windows 10.
Okay.
So, basically, by not doing anything for it, you're forever dooming that tablet to never be useful again.
True. Very true. Kind of sad. Those always look pretty cool to me. The Surface tablets.
Yeah.
Not really useful other than if you want to draw things, but but that's because I like drawing. Oh boy.
I do find that a tablet like that would be very convenient. Like if you're going on a trip or something, but you still want a Windows computer, it's very convenient.
That's true, because at that point you don't have to deal with like a keyboard and stuff. It's like holding an actual like an Android tablet or an iPad. It's just you just touch the screen where you want it to go. So. Which I always find funny about my laptop. My laptop is touchscreen, which is actually the laptop I'm using right now. But it's like I wish the keyboard actually kind of flipped back behind like the Surface Pros, because it's kind of a bit useless if you want to use it for just the touch feature. If you're using it in conjunction with the keyboard and mouse, then okay. But if you want to use just the touchscreen, it's like, no, forget it. You're not going to – no, it'll be awkward.
Yep. So, yeah, let's move on with the Creators Update a little bit. Apparently, they've decided to rename their Do Not Disturb to Focus Assistant.
What?
For some unknown reason.
Do Not Disturb. What? Okay. I think Microsoft is trying to tell us something. I think they're trying to tell us, don't use our products. It's like, wow, Microsoft. Wow.
Basically, there are three options with their new Focus Assistant, which is just a rebranded Do Not Disturb, is off, priority only, and alarms only. So basically, you can turn it off, you can set it to allow notifications from like emails and that kind of stuff, or you can just let it do alarms, and that's it. Yeah, I don't really see the need for changing the name, because I can do that right now. It's just called Do Not Disturb, but...
Yeah.
Sure. We'll just go with it.
We'll work with that, Microsoft. You get some of these crazy ideas in your head sometimes, but we'll deal with it. It's fine. Probably we should move on to a different topic, because I realize this area is getting really long. So
Yeah. The other things, just to quickly go over stuff, is password recovery for local accounts, which you couldn't do before unless you had a Microsoft account.
Well, that's good.
You can choose your GPU graphics card, basically, if you have a computer that has integrated graphics and an integrated graphics card that might be built into it. You can switch between those now, which I know, Jacob, will work for your laptop, because I'm guessing yours is actually running on integrated graphics.
My guess, because, it seemed like, when we were talking, because... Yeah, fun story, guys. This laptop was from somebody in Germany, and it got shipped over here from a friend of Davey's, and it was crazy. It was a fun story. That tell you some other time. But yeah, you at one point had said it had a graphics card in it, but it does not.
Yeah, but that's my guess, is that Windows isn't actually using it, so...
Yeah, because it's running in 1080p, but yeah, like the moment I try and play a boatload of other games, it's like, oh, I can't do this, it's too hard, and it's like, it was like 2 gigabytes of VRAM or something like that, and it was like, it should be able to easily handle this game, but for some reason it says it doesn't like it, so we'll see. That's a whole nother topic.
I definitely think it is running off of the Intel chip. You can finally mute tabs in Edge. So if you're using Edge and you have a couple tabs, and I've had this problem before, that keep dinging every time you get an email, or certain Hangouts messages, you can now mute them, and they don't annoy you all evening.
Hey, there's a use for Edge. Very useful, very useful. Well done, Microsoft.
I might be using that more, because... certain people like to send lots of Hangouts messages.
What? Who would do that? Not me. Honestly, I think what they need to do with Edge is give it a whole rehaul on the visual side of things. Yeah, it looks so 1998. or probably worse than that, you know? It looks old in many ways. It's so plain and flat. When you look at Chrome, it's smooth and color. It's white with color and small spots. It looks really good. Edge looks very meh. A bit like Bing in many of ways. It just doesn't look nice. It looks bad. So that would be my thoughts to them, is for them to do that.
Yeah.
So.
So moving on here, I think we're going to go to the iMac Pro next, because the Atari is kind of on the gaming side of things, so we'll come back to that later. But yes, this new, lovely, very controversial iMac Pro. So, for those of you who may not know much about Apple, they've made iMacs, which are their all-in-one computers, for a long time. And they've also... these iMacs have been considered standard computers. You could do photo and video editing on them, but they weren't the greatest. They made a lot of noise, and people didn't recommend them for lots of editing and stuff. Everyone always recommended the Mac Pro, which is a little cylinder PC thing that you have to hook a monitor up and stuff to, which hasn't been updated since 2013. So basically, Apple's top-of-the-line equipment was 2013 equipment.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, and the lovely Apple lovely Apple $9,000 price tag doesn't help.
I was noticing that, and I think that's because I remember he sent me a list earlier today, guys, of things I should look at, which admittedly I was a little lost, but I figured it out. But yeah, I was noticing that as I was looking at those a few web pages and stuff. I'm like, this thing is expensive, and admittedly, I don't know who's gonna buy this. I did notice some of it seemed pretty nice though, like RAM. You can get a boatload of RAM in that, but yeah, at $9,000, it's you might be able to make one that's cheaper than that technically.
Hint, spoilers for an upcoming video. More on that later. So yeah, Jacob doesn't even know what I'm talking about yet. So
no idea. I am lost. But again, I get lost a lot. Like Davey gets lost in all of our group chats. I get lost in a lot of podcasts, apparently. Well, way to go me.
Even though this is only our first podcast.
True that. Let's hope it doesn't stay. No, I mean the podcast should stay, not me getting lost. You know what I mean?
Yes. So let's go a little bit for the pros and cons of the iMac Pro, which is the all-in-one super powerful PC now, which just came out in January or so. Basically, they're saying here it's supposedly the most powerful Mac ever, excellent design, keeps cool, and apparently a new space gray color is a pro, so yay, colors.
I know. I love when people do that.
The against stuff is very expensive, non-user upgradable, and the mouse that it is shipped with is still extremely frustrating. So yeah.
Honestly, I think that's the one thing Apple has been a little having trouble with recently, has been making themselves relevant in many of ways, because I think that's why a lot of people are sitting there bashing Apple products, because I've always looked at Apple and said, you know what, they're expensive, but you're buying something good, and you still are. But the problem is, it's not like before where Apple was always leading the charge. They had the best stuff. Now it's plenty of people are coming in and saying, you know what, like Android, that's a good example. They're coming in and saying, we can do all that too, And sometimes at a better price. And you just sit there and you wonder, is it really worth it at this point now? Competitors are starting to catch up. So they really need to start making themselves a lot more relevant again. And they've been trying that with things like the iPhone X. You can see when you look at that one, it's got this fancy new design. They're trying to be cool again. But admittedly, that one's not selling well, probably because they're charging $1,000 for it. And no one in the right mind should be spending $1,000 on a phone that they'll probably drop and break within 2 weeks. So.
Yeah, definitely. So the mouse that they ship with is basically... They call it their magic mouse, right? Which has been a thing for a while. Basically, there's no click. You don't click it. It's supposedly touch sensitive. You can move the mouse around, but there's no click button. It's a touch sensitive click. So when you click the top of it, it supposedly works, which 9 times out of 10 it doesn't. So
Yeah, that sounds like a boatload of frustration. That sounds like someone says when they you say, "Hey, I'm a gamer," and someone says, "Yeah, I'm a gamer," and you're like, "What do you play on?" "Oh, I play on my phone." So you get to deal with unresponsive controls the entire time. Yep, okay. Oh my gosh, touchscreens are not the most reliable things ever, and let's be honest, it's like when I'm trying to navigate through my nice touchscreen laptop. It's moments where I'll be like, I don't even use the touchscreen because it just doesn't work well. And now, of course, that could be Windows. In general, Windows is designed for touchscreen. But it's one of those things where it just can be a little bit unresponsive at points where you're just like, this just isn't quite as nice. So I can only imagine how a mouse, something that, should be pretty basic. I mean, when you pick up a laptop, no matter what kind of fancy features it has, it should always feel like you have the basics you can come back to that will work and function perfectly. That sounds like that would just be frustrating, and if it breaks, it's like, well, great, thanks. Now,
yeah.
So.
Some stuff about the iMac Pro that are definitely for it that I don't think they listed here is that when you buy an iMac Pro brand new from Apple, you actually do get a copy of Final Cut Pro 10, which is like one of the best video editing softwares you can get. It's Apple only. You're getting that for free with the iMac.
Oh, well, that's nice. I wonder how much they charge for that, though. That's the question.
I think Final Cut 10 on its own is somewhere around $600.
Okay. So, well, that's not too bad in the sense of the Mac then, but that's still exceptionally expensive.
Yeah, and to be including that for free, that's good. I think they're only including that with their iMac Pros for like the first year or two. So
probably because they know no one's gonna buy it.
If you're not gonna buy the iMac Pro, you better get it fast.
Yeah, or not. Just go buy them. You can probably build a PC for like $5,000. It probably is about equal to that, and then spend $600. You spend $5,600 all total, and then or you could buy our thing for like $10,000, or you could buy a car. There's that.
There's that too. I'm not gonna get a very good car for $9,000 though. Let's be
true that you can buy a junker.
Yep. But a little bit back on topic.
True that.
Apparently this does not include the specs for the iMac Pro, so I need to find them. That's kind of important.
They'll probably say it's got like 12 gigabytes of RAM. Okay, I know it doesn't, but this would be hilarious. 12 gigabytes of RAM. Graphics card from 2012. Pentium 2. Pentium.
Okay, hang on a minute. 12 gigabytes of RAM with a Pentium 2.
Yeah, apparently.
Okay, let's just a little bit of a history lesson here. A Pentium 2, which was released in 1994-ish, can only support up to 64 megabytes of RAM. So, nice
Apple
try.
swindling us.
But that's not gonna work. Okay.
Told you we were gonna geek out.
Let's go straight to the Apple site here to get the specs.
All right.
So here you can see our lovely iMac Pro. We have a 5K Retina display, 27-inch display, so it is a very nice display from what I've heard. So
yeah, that's where all the money's going. 5K? Are you kidding me?
We have an 8-core, 3.2 gigahertz Intel Xeon W processor with 19 megabytes of cache. That is definitely good for video and photo and music editing. I believe my processor in my current computer can do games much better than it. And
that's normally the trade-off.
My processor costs probably $300 less than this one. So,
yeah. Not a gaming machine.
A Radeon Pro Vega 56 graphics processor with 8 gigabytes of HBM2 memory. HBM2 versus GDDR5 for those of you who are into that kind of stuff. Basically, GDDR5 is much faster, which is used for gaming, whereas the HBM2 is used for encoding, so that like when you're exporting or encoding a video, it's going to go much faster with an HBM2 based graphics card. So that is good.
Awesome.
So yes, and for your 12 gigabytes of memory, we actually have 32 gigabytes of 2666 megahertz DDR4 memory.
I'm actually kind of disappointed. I was kind of expecting more in a $9,000 computer. Let's be honest.
32 gigabytes. That's still a lot. Well, actually, no, it's not really, because I have 32 gigabytes, and my computer, not counting the used parts, probably would cost around $600.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like, I don't think that 32 is that much. I mean, I heard of people putting like 64 gigabytes of RAM in their computer. I've even heard people going above that. It's one of those moments where it's like, 32? That's it, Apple? Are you kidding me? And you're shipping this thing and expecting everyone to suddenly be okay with that? I mean,
okay,
I know
here's a money taker right here. A 1 terabyte SSD.
Well, is it worth it? Probably not.
No, but 1 terabyte SSDs. I think let's just look up here the price of a 1 terabyte SSD. 1 terabyte SSD price. We're looking around. Hang on.
Please wait.
Around $250. This is in euros, I know, but it's close to the same.
That still doesn't really justify a $9,000 price point.
No, it doesn't. Actually,
probably
the
$10,000.
was for the 2013 Mac Pro. I'm not exactly sure the price on this one yet. So.
Oh, well then we should probably look that up before I keep saying $9,000 and throwing all of my all your subscribers through a loop. Hi, subscribers.
Let's just have a look at the iMac Pro price. Okay, the iMac Pro is going from anywhere between. It depends. Well, okay, you can get it used for $4,000 apparently, but it's going new for $7,000.
That's not too bad, I guess.
Although it doesn't justify why they're still selling a 2013 Mac Pro for $9,000.
Yeah, that seems like a bit of a weird jump. Like, to go from old technology that's way more expensive to new. I don't get it. They're probably just. I don't know. It's like, what are they trying to do? Just because like they've been storing these things in a warehouse for like 30 years and they're trying to figure out a way to get rid of them, so they're charging more? Because I can tell you that's not going to work.
Get them out of my. Okay. Anyway, they do have a 10. These iMac Pros do have a 1080p FaceTime HD camera.
That's nice.
So that is a very nice camera. I cannot talk today. Thunderbolt 3 digital video output, which means you can do video over USB and Thunderbolt. Basically meaning if you wanted to, you could display your entire iMac desktop to your phone or to a laptop screen, in case you want to do that. So yeah.
Wow, thank you, Apple. I will be sure to use that when I buy your really expensive thing. Maybe you should put that money towards something else.
Actually, that could be useful. If you're using your iMac for like a video presentation and you don't want the whole iMac up there, but you could have your phone up there with the same desktop on it, that could be actually useful.
No, I'm not sure I see that, but
if you're doing like a slideshow presentation in front of everybody.
I guess, I don't know. That sounds like they have they normally just add a second HDMI port and then you just have a smaller monitor or a bigger monitor. Hey,
here's where things go a little overboard. Stereo speakers for audio, which is that's fine. And a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, which is a great bonus over certain recent cell phones by this company.
I was gonna say, it's like, for Apple, that's pretty good. This probably were about $2,000 when all total. They had to redo molds and stuff. They threw all that out the window. Like, that is in the past. 2 days later, that is the future.
It's not quite in the past because Windows 10 or not Windows 10. Okay, the iPhone 10 is still lacking that port. So
That's Apple, though.
But here's the thing I don't get. Why does one iMac require 4 microphones? 4.
The only reason I could say that was because they're thinking of this probably as an editing machine, and they think it'd be kind of nice if you could have multiple mics plugged into the same Mac. But I'm gonna be honest.
No. This is 4 microphones built into it.
Oh. I have absolutely no idea. What are you trying to do? I mean, I guess they just want to be able to make sure no matter where you stand, they can hear you?
Maybe, but like, unless you're Jacob, you don't generally pace around the room and talk to people.
That I do. I do that, guys. Just so y'all know, that's me. Me in a nutshell. Well, I think we can all just like chalk this whole discussion up to Apple, you overcharge.
Yeah. So let's just go over the connections real quick. And then I think that'll be pretty much everything. So yes, we do have the 3.5mm headphone jack. Got that. SD card slot. That's nice because their last model did not have one of those. So yeah. We got USB 3. We got 4 USB 3 ports. That's good. 4 Thunderbolt 3 ports, which are USB-C, which is becoming a lot more common nowadays. Ethernet, and then of course power. The Ethernet is 10 gigabit Ethernet, which basically means over a network you can move a file at approximately 40 gigabytes a second.
Dang, that's where all the money went.
And then 10 gigabit Ethernet basically means if you're downloading something from a server, this has something to do with the internet, but you can get usually within a range of 5 to 10 gigabytes for a download a second.
I'd like to point out that my internet isn't that good, so that wouldn't be very useful for me.
Well, this is through Ethernet, not wireless.
True, but our internet isn't that good anyway. So, whether it's wireless or not.
And then, yeah, you have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and you got the keyboard and mouse and all that comes with it. It weighs approximately 21 pounds. So that's not too bad.
It's not too bad for something of that caliber. So
that's true.
That's where all the money went. They filled it with helium balloons.
So yeah. Yeah. And yeah, it comes with macOS High Sierra, which is their new operating system as of like a year ago or so. And
I thought they were gonna tell us it came with the OS from like a MacBook from 2001.
Because that's totally what Apple does.
They do.
So yeah, and it does come with iMovie and GarageBand, which is good. So you can get those.
If it didn't, we'd be disappointed.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for the iMac. There's one more topic while we're on the topic of computers that needs discussed, because we were talking about Google and Edge a little earlier, and I just wanted. Google has been kind of taking the world by storm a little bit with some of their stuff. Like Google Chrome is the most widely used web browser. Google Search is obviously the most widely used search, and
YouTube.
Yeah, there's YouTube. Their Google Pixel phone is very popular.
Is it? I didn't know.
Yes.
What exactly makes it special? I never really noticed what it was.
It's just a good phone. I don't know much about it, but I know it's been very popular.
Probably because they're trying to compete with Apple in the sense of a nice phone at a decent price. So.
And then we have this. This is the Google Pixel Book, which is just basically a $999 Chromebook.
Wow. Thanks, Google. Now you really are competing with Apple.
This is Google's worst market at the moment. They're good in everything else but computers. Mostly because Chrome OS is really, really bad for
It
most.
is.
If
I
you're
never
just,
understood that.
If you're just using a laptop and all that you need to do is web browsing, then I guess you're fine. Like if you're just going on a trip or something, or if you're a school and you don't want your kids messing with programs, that could be helpful. But
Yeah.
other than that, they don't have much of a market. Except for, well, they did have a little bit of a market, and I think the biggest part of their market was the fact that it was so cheap. You could buy a Chromebook for between $100 and $200, which was good if you were on a really tight budget and needed something to access the internet.
Yeah, which I think is the only real market, and I think that they
just kind of killed that market.
They did at this point. They don't seem. It's like Microsoft. How long it took them to figure out that they don't have a market in the phones yet? It's like Microsoft making a phone. I could always see because it's like, oh, it's connected. Imagine if you had a small little Windows computer that couldn't do quite as much as the big ones, but it was a smaller one that was connected. Phones. And that at least made some sense. I know that their market thing didn't go very well. But I could at least see it. But with Google making computers, that always slipped me. Like, why? You guys don't even, it's like, that doesn't really make any sense. It just never seemed like that would really work.
Chrome OS is basically, it's a Linux operating system. That's what it is. It's a Linux operating system. You can go and download the operating system for free if you really had the want or need to put Chrome OS on your computer. But charging $1,000 for a laptop running Chrome OS does not seem worth it.
Oh no, I don't. It doesn't. You would have to give me some huge deal breaker thing where it's like, if you buy this, I don't know what you'd get, but you would have to get something really good, I think it's a bit like what they were doing with for Google Pixar for a while. They were saying, anybody who you get this gets unlimited storage access on their phone, which they kind of gave to everybody else, which I recommend checking out. The Google Photos app, I really like it. It uploads your photos automatically. It saves it for like ever, and you have unlimited storage. So I can clear up a lot of space on my phone and never have to worry about anything. But that's another topic for another day. But it's like, that I think really helped the Google Pixel, so I can say that. But when I look at this, it's like you don't have a deal breaker like that. It's like Apple is cool and nice, a little expensive, but nice. Windows has always been expansive. You can do whatever you want with that thing. It's amazing. But we look at Google, it's like you were kind of just a phone competitor in that kind of market. It's like, what are you gonna do?
So, yeah, to just go over the specs a little bit for this, which I think are a little bit wasted on this. You can buy your Chrome OS Pixelbook with an Core i5 processor, 8 GB of RAM, and 128 GB SSD. That's the base model for $1,000. You can get a 256 gigabyte SSD upgrade for $1,199. Or you can get the i7 version with 16 gigabytes of RAM and a 512 gigabyte SSD for $1,649.
That is the most.
And then, of course, if you want a pen to do the stylus stuff on and like drawing on your screen, they're going to charge you another $100 for that pen.
What the heck, Google? That's worse than Apple. You don't. I mean, spec-wise, I'm pretty sure that's worse than even like the Mac thing there. It's like, what is this? $1,000 for something that can do nothing, basically.
The specs are fine if you're running Windows.
Oh my goodness, yes.
So wasted on Chrome OS.
And $100 for a freaking pen? No way. Sorry, Google. I'm out. What are you gonna do with this thing? It'd be like, that's kind of what we're talking about later. But it'd be like, it's like the Ouya or like a lot of those streaming boxes thing. It's like you spend so much money for something that can do nothing, basically. Hint at a future topic in this podcast.
Yeah, that's coming up here very shortly. The one thing that the Pixelbook could be used for is like, and why it would have a market for some people that were more into doodling, kind of like you, Jacob, is that it does have the 360 screen thing, so you can fold the keyboard all the way back behind the screen. and use it as a tablet if you want. And it does come with some drawing apps and stuff, but you are really limited to the Google Play Store, which
Oh my goodness.
can be somewhat useful. You can run Android apps on your Pixelbook if you really wanted to, but I don't think the $1,000 Pixelbook is worth it. I think if you want to run those apps and do that kind of stuff, then go out and buy a $150 or $200 Chromebook.
Yeah, and to be honest, you could even go out and buy a Surface Pro for right around that price and get something way better and more useful if you're going to be drawing and stuff.
I mean, yeah, definitely. The one thing about the Pixelbook that is better than the Surface Pro is the Pixelbook is like 5 times thinner than the Surface Pro. The Surface Pro is a brick. It really is a brick.
True.
But yeah.
I don't know.
So,
I've always kind of liked mine things being a bit thicker. Some of these newer stuff, it's like, we're going to make it paper thin. And I always stand there like, I'd never be able to keep up with that. You know, or I'd always break it. It'd be like, you know, you bend it even slightly and it snaps somewhere on the inside. And it's like crap.
Or it'd be shoved in my drawers with a bunch of other papers, and I would be searching for ages trying to find it.
Yeah, exactly. I never really thought that kind of thin was good. I mean, I can understand thinner things. That makes sense. But I mean, I've always felt like sometimes they always make it too thin, and then it seems flimsy. But also, I've noticed they tend to sacrifice good internal parts for smaller size, for something that, you know, it doesn't matter. You drop a few millimeters off, but you end up paying an extra $100 so they can compress the parts. You know, it never really seemed useful to me. You know.
One definite thing that is better about Chrome OS is, you never have to worry about a virus. You are never going to get a virus on that.
True, and
not possible.
Sorry. Yeah, although I think that's only good for right now. Give it a year or two. If it happened to take off, which I doubt it, $1,000 for a hunk of junk. But
well, the laptop itself is not at all a hunk of junk. It is well built. It is extremely.
It is.
It's the best. People are saying the hardware is the best hardware they've seen in a laptop yet.
True, that's quite nice. But the actual OS just destroys it. It makes it bad. So I probably should take back hunk of junk, and I do. But admittedly, Google, you're still selling me really bad software for that. I mean, let's be honest. It'd be like if I went out and bought this amazing, Core i7, 32 gigabyte RAM laptop that ran Windows XP. It's like, well, thank you. What am I supposed to do with this thing? Well, in that case, you can just update it. That'd be fine, but you know.
Which is true with Chromebook too. You can technically put Windows on this machine. Has been done, but the average user is not going to want to go through the many steps and like disassembling parts of it to reset stuff, and it's just not good. Yeah.
Sorry, Google. That is a really bad thing. You know, I felt like I was being hard on the the Mac. But at the very least, it's just an expensive, very, very expensive, good piece of equipment. This, it's like, what? You're charging me $3,000 for an Ouya.
Yep, something like that. But yeah, leading that, I think that pretty much closes up our stuff on the Chromebook. So let's move over into the gaming side for our gaming point of the day. I think we might do that. We might have maybe we should do that for these podcasts. We should do one gaming point for each podcast.
Yeah, well, it's kind of connected to tech, as long as it's not we can pick out a gaming point, but I can definitely say for some of these, like in the case of the Atari box here, which is the next topic, I assume.
Yes.
It kind of connects, and I feel like it connects very well, because anything I would say on it is very much connected to PCs and such. Even if it's a gaming PC, it's still a computer, so, you know.
Yes. Let's move into that. So here is ignore the Darth Vader head ad thing. That's kind of funny. Here is the Atari box, which they're calling the Atari VCS. So if you don't know, a little bit of history here. 1976, they released the Atari VCS, which most people know as the Atari 2600, which was the OG, my uncle played that console, that like every kid in the 70s and 80s had, and it was a revolutionary piece of equipment. It's what started the video game industry, and yeah, it was a good console. And every console Atari's ever released from there was pretty much downhill.
It went downhill from there. And this, I think, is chalk enough to follow it.
I don't know. We haven't seen it in action yet, so
yeah.
But yes, you can. I think the 26th was the day they opened their pre-ordering. So if you want to go order this, you are free to do that. But don't go order it right now. Just let us finish first.
Yeah, you might want to hear what our thoughts on it. I should say my thoughts, but our thoughts.
So they did say that it is going to come built in with old Atari games, so it's kind of like an NES Classic thing. But then at the same time, it's kind of not, which makes it weird because it's coming with a full-fledged AMD Ryzen 5 processor, which is a nice processor by today's standards. A customized Linux operating system, which is like the PlayStation and the Xbox are both running Linux-based operating systems. In case you didn't know that.
New news to me. I actually thought the Xbox was running Windows 10.
Nope, it's not.
Huh.
So yeah. With that newer tech, they're planning to have modern games on here too eventually, which is weird because I don't think many companies are going to come on board with that because it's going to be a lot of money pushing into something that may or may not work. So the amount of newest games you're going to get on this is probably going to be new Atari games, which they have been releasing new Atari games for years. They've been PC and other console stuff, but to put it on their own system is going to be different.
I honestly think this system is going to fail simply because, I think I said this to you before, Davey, because we've talked about and joked about this thing over and over and over again. And I think that I always come back to is the fact that this thing doesn't have a market. It's not going to be able to compete with the Xbox or the PlayStation. And I honestly think because when this thing launches, like close to this year, Xbox and PlayStation are already planning their next generation, I'm sure, at this point. So those are going to come out within a year or two. And then the Atari box is more like the Wii U. It came out too early with too low specs, and nobody wants it. I mean, the Wii U had other problems, but that is definitely one of them. So that's going to be a problem. And this thing isn't exactly designed for PC users. That's what I was saying about PC coming in here. Because what PC user is going to go out and buy a streaming box? That's what this thing feels more like it is. It's like the Ouya. It's a set-top box that can play games, but they're very limited what games it can play. Now, luckily, they're only charging $250 to $300 for it. That's not too bad for a console. It's a little bit more like the Nintendo Switch. And the idea that it may not be the most powerful thing, but it's mobile in the case of the Switch, and it's a cheaper price. In this case, with this though, it isn't mobile. So it's like, what is this thing?
Kind of. All you really need for it is power and HDMI, and it is kind of small, so could be mobile.
Yeah, but that comes back to it being more like a set-top box.
The type of mobile that take it to a friend's house and plug it into his TV kind of mobile, not like Switch mobile.
They'd honestly be hilariously funny was if they included composite in this thing as well. Or is it component? I always get the two mixed up. The red, white, and yellow, where you can plug... Composite, okay. You could take it... So it includes composite as well as HDMI, so you can go over to a composite TV and plug it in and play the old classics that way. You wouldn't be able to play the newer games, but the older games would be able to play that way. That'd be pretty funny.
That would be very nice, and especially for me, I have a love for retro games, so... That would be awesome, but... That's
where it would really work well, was if, I'm glad they're including all of those old games on there. That is a very good move. That's making it more appealing to classic gamers. But I think the thing is, like I said...
I don't think I would spend $300 on it.
Exactly. That's a problem. I mean, let's be honest, some of those NES classics are probably right around that price now.
Now, but when they originally came out, they were only going for $99.
Which, when you think about it, it's still actually a lot of money for a tiny little box.
Not really, because if you went out and actually bought the games and console, you're going to be spending over $200.
That's true. Very true. Very true, Davey. Okay. Didn't think about that. Very true. I think my thought would be with this, to sum up my thoughts on the Atari box, it doesn't have a good market, and yeah, nobody's going to make games for it. So it's going to end up being a lot like the Ouya. It's like, what is the point of this thing? You know, I don't see a use for it. And no one's going to buy it. If they manage to say, hey, we have a boatload of developers who are interested, and the way to do that would be to say, hey, it's very easy to make PC games run on this thing, or very easy to make Xbox games run on this thing. With a few minor alterations, it'll run perfectly fine, so it wouldn't take them 2 weeks to get the thing to run on that console. That would be very much a good move. But at this point, I don't think they've done that, and I don't think they have any developers signing on. So
yeah, little bit of facts about this. They did actually delay it. It was supposed to release in, I think, around October last year. They delayed it, and they said there was just one key element on our checklist left to fix. So they did delay it, and I'm not sure when the actual release is. But it is very secretive on most of the stuff that's in here. Like, we know that it's going to have classic titles on it, and it has the Ryzen processor, and it's running a Linux operating system. That's pretty much it. Nobody's seen actual gameplay from it. It hasn't been powered on for anybody before. They've seen the console, they've seen the controllers, which they do have 2 of them coming with it. They have the modern controller, which you can see here, which people say is actually very nice and very comfortable, even more so than the Xbox and PlayStation controllers.
PlayStation controller sucks. No offense, PlayStation.
Yeah. There goes all the PlayStation lovers that just left the podcast. Nice job.
True, but you know what? I could never stand that controller. It's like it never looked comfortable. It's like, what is this thing? Someone took a remote and strapped 2 toilet paper tubes to it.
And then we have this thing, which is great. This is a modern version of their original Atari joystick, which is for use with the old games, obviously. Which I do think is a good move, because, let's be honest, I've tried playing old games on, like, my computer before on emulators, and using a USB controller, it's just not, doesn't work.
Yeah, so, I've always felt like I want to see Atari succeed as much as I think this thing will fail, and I'll probably laugh when it does. But I'd like to see it succeed because I think they could do well imagine if you had another console in that market there, you know? You have PlayStation, Xbox, and Atari. That would actually be kind of interesting, you know?
Yeah, that was true. I don't know, maybe it will turn out. But yeah, I think the market is going to be for those nostalgic people that just want to play their old games again. So yeah.
That's probably the only thing they kind of have going for them at this point. You know, other than that, this thing really is looking like it's going to be a bad PC.
About the thing about developers signing on, Activision has signed on, according to this.
Oh, cool. That's good. Call of Duty.
Yeah. The only game that they've said might actually be on it, though, that's modern, is Borderlands 2.
That's not really modern? I mean, I don't really play those games, but I can tell you I believe
it's
that
modern. It's modern-ish.
And that's where problems start to come in. And honestly, they're actually being a bit too secretive at this point. I only hope is that they plan on launching it in like October, November, and they're going to have a big thing at E3. So, you know. That and Halo 6. Come on, guys. Bring in Halo 6, please.
I think that pretty much wraps up our discussions. Like, all of
them
for this evening. Yeah, I think so.
Really? Wow, hey. And hey, we're like right around an hour, I think. I mean, maybe a little bit longer, probably a little bit shorter. I don't know how long the video's going to be, but...
I have 59 minutes and 30 seconds right now.
I have 59 minutes and 57 seconds. So.
Okay, well, pretty much an hour. So that was actually very good timing.
Actually was, yeah. Officially an hour now.
There we go. Well, yeah, I hope you guys liked this. You can let me know, because I enjoyed doing it. I think Jacob did too.
I definitely did. We see the reason he thought of this was because we have had our moments where we'll go for like an hour or two just sitting there talking about tech stuff because we're nerds and that's what we do, and it just like, seemed to make sense to record it.
It does seem like everything in our lives recently, like, well, we talk about tech, definitely record that. We're playing StarCraft, record it.
Oh my god.
Which is not entirely a bad thing, but
Yeah, we're YouTubers now, I mean, I've always wanted to be one, so, this is kind of just my thing now, I'm a gaming YouTuber, I'm a vlogging YouTuber.
We were skit YouTubers, that was the thing at one point.
That was the thing, it's not really anymore, sorry, RTS fans, that kind of fell through.
Yeah, you can still check RTS out if you want, it's still around, and it will be in the link below if anybody's still interested in that, so yeah, that'll be there.
You're gonna have a whole boatload of links.
Yeah, I know. So, yeah. Everybody, you're gonna have to click that show more button and keep scrolling for a little bit, but yes, they will all be there.
It will all be there.
Provided that I haven't forgotten any.
Well, I can definitely say I enjoyed this, Davey. I'll be sure to want to do this again. This was good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, thank you guys for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff.
Can I do the outro?
Yeah. Okay, sure.
Alright, well, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please be sure to subscribe to me and like the video. Enjoy to come up on our channel. Let's share the video with your friends. I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Or I won't, because this is his channel. I'm just joking.
You were supposed to use my outro, but okay, whatever.
Alright, I don't know what your outro is. I just, I don't know. Your outro was something like, be sure to like, share, comment, do all that crazy cool stuff, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video, or something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah, something like that.
We spent 2 minutes on this outro. Crazy.
Well, outro it is. Yeah, make sure you check out Jacob's channels. I'll make sure those links are up first. So, there you go, Jacob.
Because I'm selfish.
Shameful advertising.
That's the only reason I signed on, Davey. I don't even like you. I'm just kind of subscribers.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, next time on this podcast, there will be one of us talking.
Ouch, okay. You can mute me. Oh boy, that's so mean. You're like, I hold the power, Jacob.
I can, like, just come over here and mute you right now, so I don't want to hear it.
True that.
Well, yeah. See you guys later.
See ya.